Hello guys, it's Chlo from Chlo's Craft Closet. I have another card to share with you all today. This is a quick and easy Christmas card that I've whipped up this morning using some leftover reindeers that I had hanging around the table. It's amazing what odds and ends you collect. Super fast card, really cute. I absolutely love this card. I love it when you have something that takes no time at all to make but ends up with lots of wow factor. So I'm going to show you how to make this card today. So let's get started. Okay, so first what we're going to need is a piece of cherry cobbler. That's the colour I'm using today. It happens to match the DSP from the This Christmas Speciality paper. So the DSP is usual Australian sizing, which is 4 inches by 11.5, and all we're going to do is just fold this little guy in half, line up the corners, which I can't see because I've left my glasses behind. Oh no, there they are. Let me grab those and put them on. That makes it so much easier to be able to see what one's doing. So quick fold in half, give it a quick burnish with your bone folder, and there's your card base all nicely done. So we'll put that to one side. So the other things that we're using today, we're going to need a piece of very vanilla. So this very vanilla is 3 3/4 by 5.5, and we're using the paper from This Christmas Specialty DSP. It's actually in the annual catalogue, so not the paper in the holiday catalogue. This one's one of the ones in the annual catalogue. It's a specialty piece because it's actually really wafer thin, a bit like the old typeset paper, so it's a bit like a newspaper sort of print. You get 4 sheets of each of the patterns, so they're obviously double-sided, and we're using the musical notes ones for this. This is actually cut down 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. All the measurements, as always, will be on my blog, which is closecraftcloset.blogspot.com. So what we're going to do with this is we're actually just going to put a bit of double-sided tape on. Now, up to you how much tape you want to put on, a bit of tear tape, should I say. I generally just stick it down onto the big sides. Especially with this paper, it's not very thick, it's not really going to go anywhere, and just for ease. Snail's also good, especially if you're going to make lots and lots of cards. Snail makes it super fast too. So we're just going to stick our DSP down onto our very vanilla card base, leaving just a little bit of an edge. There you go, just like that. And we can now put that aside too with our main base. I never like to stick anything together until I have all the card sorted. So what I'm going to do is just move this over to one side. Okay, so the next thing on our card that we want to do is we want to get the rosé or medallion sorted. So we're using another piece of the DSP. This time this one's got, looks a bit like a Christmas tree on one side and a very fine red stripe on the other. This piece measures 12 inches by 1 1/4, and what we're going to do is we're going to use our scoreboard, or I actually use my trimmer, because obviously we have a scoring function on the trimmer, and you're going to score every 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'll just move my other blade out of the way. So 1/4 of an inch up and down, move it along, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, keep going, and then I'm just going to turn it around here and go again. So line it up, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I've actually done the whole lot. I've cheated. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a, yeah, I think it's better on the red side. You can just see it in the light, how it's scored all the way across. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to concertina fold it. So you're going to fold in and then out, and then in and then out, and then in and then out. Now these folds don't have to be perfect folds. Some seem to fold easier than others. It doesn't have to be exact. I mean, you can spend as long as you want trying to get these exactly where they're supposed to go, but I tend to just do it super fast, and I'll show you. You can see how wonky mine is. Oh, that one's really bad. Let me just reline that one back up. So in and out, in and out, in and out until you've got the whole piece done. Now you guys might have done, what did I call them? A rosette. Some people call them a medallion. You know, these have been around for a long time, this little crafting exercise. So you guys may have done this before, but it's always good to have a refresher. I haven't made one of these for a while, so it took me a little go to get back. Oh, that one's a little bit dodgy. Back into the swing of it. Okay, in, out, in, out, in, out. There we go. And then we're just going to squash it down. And if I get it up really close, you can see how terribly, look how bad that looks. Do you know what? It doesn't matter. Give it a squeeze, make sure it's nice and folded, it's creased. There goes your concertina effect. And then what you're going to do is hopefully you're going to end up with one valley fold on the end. So this ends my, this ends my valley and this one's my other end. So what you're going to do is put a little bit of tape down there and you're just going to stick the two together to make a ring. So let's get a bit more tear tape. And we're just going to literally stick a little bit on here. Now, girls, if you haven't started heating up your hot glue gun, I can smell mine, so mine's obviously getting up to temperature. You're going to need your hot glue gun in a little bit. So make sure you've got that on hand, heated up. So I've stuck a bit of tape on. I've attached the two sides. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a crease so it's back together. And there you go. You have your concertinaed loop. Just like that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to gather this together, make it a bit springy, and we're just going to gently pinch and fold it in, push it down into the middle, she says. Give it a little bit of a wiggle, and there you go. Oh, it's popped up again. Push him down, and there you go. There you have your little rosette. Can you see that? So to hold this little guy together is we're going to punch out a piece of scrap cardstock. I'm just using a 1 1/4 inch circle punch for this one. We're going to punch him out, and this is where our hot glue gun comes in handy. We're going to put a bit of hot glue on here. I actually want the other side, so I've just flipped him through. Did you see that? I poked it all the way through and it just flips around. So I want this side, because this is the side that we're not going to see. This is the side we're going to glue. I'm going to get my hot glue gun here. You want a little squirt, only a little bit. Oh, if I can get any out, come on. There you go. A little squirt of hot glue there. Now this is the bit where you try not to burn your hands, girls. You're going to squish it together, and you kind of want to hold it together. And you're going to get your hot bit of glue without hopefully touching your fingers to it. And you're going to push it down gently while sort of holding your rosette together. I'm just going to hold it for a couple of seconds. Give it a little bit of a rub. Say a little prayer to the stamping up gods. Please, please let this stick. I'm just rubbing it because I want to spread that glue around. And then, hey presto, turn it around. There you go. There's your little rosette, medallion, whatever you want to call it. So once you've got this little guy, this is actually the hardest part. The rest is fairly straightforward. So once we've got this little guy, we now want to build up the rest of our card front. So we're going to stamp our reindeer. So we're going to get the beautiful Santa sleigh stamp set again. We're going to use our little reindeer guy down here. So he's already mounted to go, and he's on a bit of craft. I love our craft cardstock colour. Comes in 12 by 12. People kind of confuse it with crumb. It's not the same as crumb. It's a completely different colour if you ask me. We're using Early Espresso. So we're going to stamp up our reindeer here, and we're going to stamp him down there. And do you know what? What's better than one reindeer is two reindeer. What's better than one card to make? Two cards to make. So we've stamped our reindeer. It really is a beautiful stamp. He stamps fantastically. We'll put our ink pads away because I tend to put my elbows in them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the matching framelits, Santa sleigh framelits. Now I've actually put mine on a magnetic piece of cardboard that I made. So I brought the magnetic sheets just from a cheap craft shop. I think mine were a couple of dollars for an A4 sheet. I've cut them down to the size. I stick the label from the packet on the back, plus how many dies are in there, because I always have to check that. I can never remember whether I've got any missing. And then you just stick all your dies on there, and these will then go in a box, and they're just so much easier. They don't slide, they don't fall off, and it's just easier to put everything on. Okay, little handy tip for you all. All right, I'm going to get our reindeer. We're going to line him up onto our piece of cardstock and run him through the big shot. Now, I've obviously done one of those already. So, ta-da, here's one I made earlier. Over here, here's my little guy. Ta-da, here's my little reindeer. Fantastic, hey. So we are going to stick him on there. But the first thing we need to do before we attach him is get some gold foil. See, I've got a little bit of gold foil just going around. Now, people have a love-hate relationship with gold foil, don't they? I love it. A lot of my class girls absolutely hate it. We're going to do what I call the 3-finger width and a 5-lap loop. So that just means I've wrapped it round my finger 5 times. Oh, and I've dropped the bit there. There we go. So we're going to clamp it all together to get our circles. Oh, we're going a bit crazy today. To get our circles. Now all I'm going to do is that's going to stick down on the top there. So I'm just going to put a little glue dot. You know me, guys, I love a good glue dot. So I'm just going to get my Stanley blade to scoop up my glue dot like so, and I'm just going to stick that down there onto Rudolph, and then the end that has the 2 sort of tails I'm just going to stick there. And so when we turn him over, you can sort of froof him a little bit if you want, but there he is, he's sitting in a little gold circle. Now if you want to get rid of the tails, you can just trim them up. Can you see he's got a little tail there? So all I'm going to do is just trim that up. There you go, he's got this beautiful gold circle. So to attach him to our medallion, our rosette, of course, glue dots. What else would I be using? So I'm just going to stick a glue dot on his bottom, glue dot on his, did I get it? Yep, onto his neck, and we're literally just going to line him up sort of in the middle and stick him down like so. Ta-da! There you go. Okay, so we're almost done. Next thing, we're going to get a piece of gold glimmer cardstock. This is 4 inches by 1 inch. We're going to quickly use our triple banner punch, which I use all the time. I don't know how I ever made banners before this little guy came along. So we're just going to quickly punch out one end, punch out the other to give us our double banner. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our cardstock musical sheet back in, and we're just going to line it up. I can't pick it up. We're going to line it up on there with our rosette and just see if it's the right width, and it is. Now if you wanted it to poke out more, little tip, cut your banner in half like so, and then of course you can have it however wide you want, as long as it's still covered by your rosette. So if you wanted it a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, you can do that. So what I'm going to actually do is line up where I want him to go. So I think I want them there, like that. I'm going to put 2 glue dots either side of my circle here. So one there and one there. Oh, oh no, it's turned into a bogey. All right, get rid of him. Start again. And another one. And one there. There we go. And then because we have these musical notes that are actually in a line, we can straighten this up. Stick our reindeer in the middle of them. it up and they're stuck on. Ta-da! How cute is that? So we have everything exactly in the right place. All right, so we're almost there. There we go. Look, almost there. The only thing left to do is a little ribbon and our banner, and then we're done. So the ribbon is yet again using our the framelits. Oh, let's just put that one back so we've got him in the right place. And here we go. In the set, you actually have two little ribbons. This one's supposed to be like a string one. So he actually matches this little ribbon here. Where the one we're going to use, this one here, actually matches this one here. But we're not going to stamp on him because we're going to use a red glimmer one. So I'm making a big mess. Look how messy I get. Even when I'm filming, I get messy. All right, so what we're going to do is just put him on our big shot and run him through. As you can see, this is my ribbon piece so far. So by the power of TV, here's one I made earlier. And yes, we are going to stick him down with a glue dot. I did warn you all that I do use a lot of glue dots, didn't I? So there we go. We're going to give him a beautiful little ribbon. Oh, I probably stuck him too high. I don't think I can move him now. Oh, I might be able to. Nope, that'll have to do. He'll have to be that high up now. It looks like he's got a necktie on. Now, I'll move that over there and we're going to stamp our sentiment. So we're using the Merry Christmas that's actually in the set. So this is the Merry Christmas wishes. And it's got a beautiful, what I call an innie. So this is my outie, goes on the outside of the card. This is my innie, goes on the inside of the card. So it's hope your season brings one good thing on top of another. Isn't that cute? So I'm all stamped up here, but I wanted to show you a little trick because a lot of people have trouble with regards to lining up their polymers and things. So my little trick actually is I use my grid paper. I line my sentiment up on the grid paper like so, and then I just stick my block over the top and have it in line. And the same thing when I come to stamping. I line up my cardstock on a line, and then I can get, fingers crossed, a nice easy straight sentiment. Okay, so back with the early espresso again. Gonna ink it up. I always do a practice run, so over here I'm just going to do a little practice one. Make sure I've got it the right way round. It's not upside down or anything like that. And then I'm just going to go down and up, and there's my sentiment. Fantastic. Alrighty, so I'm now just going to flag the ends of this. So I'm just going to snip a bit off here. I'm just going to take a little snip in the middle, and then we're going to meet corner to corner. Oh, let's go up a little bit more with this one. There you go, that's that one. Same again here. Just going to take a little bit off the end. Actually, I might take a little bit more. And we're just going to go up in the middle, and we're going to go corner to corner. Oh, there you go. And there's your sentiment all done. Okay, so we're going to foam mount our sentiment. I'm just going. Now, do you guys use the edging of your foam mount? Oh, I do. Sometimes it's the perfect width. For example, this one here is looking like a pretty good one. So I'm just going to take that little end bit off. Don't throw it away. Add it back to your pack. Nice straight line. So I'm going to stick him right in the middle. Always use all your bits of foam mount. Doesn't matter what the shape is, as long as it doesn't show. And so we're just going to now stick him just across the middle. There you go. So there's your little embellished middle. Okay, so now it's time to put it all together. So a bit of tear tape. Like I said, you can go all the way around if you really want to, but I never really see the point of that. These cards aren't heavy. They're not going to be out for years and years and years. Though my great aunt does keep all my Christmas cards that I send her on display. Before you stick it down, make sure you know which way your card opens. Seems simple enough, but I can tell you that I know many a times somebody stuck their beautiful card front down and the card opens the wrong way round. So I'm going to stick that on there. We're going to add a little bit of tear tape to the back of our embellishment. So One there, one there. Usually I tear it, hence the name tear tape, but I don't want to risk unsticking anything that we've put together on here, so I'm going to use my scissors to chop the end off. There we go. Oh, right way round, and then we're literally going to just get that in the middle of our card and done. Voila, all finished. So here's the one that I did previously. Here's the new one. Isn't that just cute? And because there are so many extra things with regards to this stamp set, this one I made it again, but this time I put a bell on him. So he's got a little bell. And another thing, I haven't made it yet, but I do plan to pretty soon. I'm just trying to find the little bit that goes with him, and I seem to have lost it. But we have in the stamp set, we have this beautiful little wreath, and I reckon that would be something that would go fantastically around our little reindeer's neck as well. So that might be another one. So there you go. A very super quick Christmas card that you could mass produce in no time at all. Anyone would love to have one of these. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening and for watching. Like I said, all the measurements will be up on my blog, which is at closcraftcloset.blogspot.com. The link will be in the notes for this video, just in case you weren't sure where that was. And I'll speak to you again soon another time. Thank you. Bye.